back with another video. You guys, it has been 2 months since I've been on here last. And there's a few reasons why I have not been on here. One being, I really just have not received a lot of dreams that I felt was important to share here on this channel. Another reason is because me and my husband have been working on something that the Lord has opened up for us. And it's not something I'm going to share right now, but I will share later on down the road. But I will say that I am extremely grateful and appreciative for just the things that God is doing for me and my family. And the other thing is I just really needed time away just to kind of regroup and, you know, just have that time to myself, with the Lord, with my family, because, you know, to those of you who do YouTube videos, whether it's dreams and visions, whether if you're ministering the word of God, it's a lot that comes with that. And in my case, you know, there's just a lot of things that I have been dealing with and things that I have noticed when it comes to YouTube. And, you know, anytime that you are in a season of where you are experiencing a lot of hardships and a lot of trials and persecution and just, you know, having to deal with a lot of emotional pain, you know, it's very hard and trying. But at the same time, you know, and I've said this to you all before, a lot of times when you find yourself in a season of hardship and trials, it's not so much because it was something that you did wrong, but God allowed it because there are things that God is trying to produce in you. And when you look at the fruits of the Holy Spirit, such as long suffering, being gentle, being meek, being kind, patience, those fruits come through going through things that requires endurance. And a lot of times when God allows those things to come upon your life, those situations, it's because He know where He's taking you. And He know that there are things that you have, that you have to be equipped with in order for you to fully walk in what God has called you to be. And so every one of us has a specific assignment. Some of us have multiple assignments. And a lot of that comes with obedience. If God can trust you to do something and you are obedient, then He will open up more responsibilities that He will put on you, because number one, he can trust you to be obedient, to carry forth what it is that He's wanting you to do. And also it's because you are allowing yourself to go through the processes that are necessary so that you can be fully equipped to reach those individuals that God has called to you. Because when you go through different things in your life, different trials and hardships and just hard situations, it's not so much to beat you down, but it's so you can say, I can relate to that person. I can relate to this person. And there are so many people out here that are wounded, that are hurting, that don't have no one that they can turn to, because they are going through things that people can't fully understand what it is that they are going through. And in order to bring a person to a place of healing and deliverance, number one, God is the ultimate healer and deliverer, okay? But at the same time, God uses His people to speak words to individuals that can break down those barriers, that can break down those strongholds in their lives so that they can receive the word and hear what it is that God is wanting to pour into them. So we are all vessels. You're either a vessel for God, for the Holy Spirit, or you are a vessel to Satan, to demonic spirits. And when you look at the fact that, you may find yourself going through certain trials and you're going through a lot of pain, I don't want you to have the mindset that, oh my gosh, why is God doing this to me? Why do I have to go through this? Now, let me just be very clear. Sometimes we do go through things because there are things within us that we are not fully allowing God to check us on. There are things that we harbor on the inside that pride blocks us from seeing the truth about ourselves. And God will allow certain situations to pull that out of us and get us to a place of submission so we can first not just identify and recognize the issue, but so we can fully turn from it and let God's healing and deliverance come forth through whatever that situation is that you're going through. But there are times when you will go through things that has nothing to do with anything that you've done, but God will allow it because he wants to produce more fruit in you. And so I don't know who I'm talking to, but if I'm talking to you, know that what you are dealing with, it is not in vain. There is a light at the end of the tunnel. And I know some of you have been lied on. Some of you have been mistreated. Some of you have been abused, mentally abused, emotionally abused, spiritually abused. So many of us, and I include myself because I am one of them, so many of us have experienced church hurt. And it is the worst. I would say it is one of the worst hurts that anyone can experience because it calls an individual, it can cause an individual to question God. It can cause an individual to question whether or not this is, if this is right for them. And some people completely leave Christianity and go to another religion because of the hurt. This is a reality. And so we really have to be careful. And I know for me, I've experienced church hurt in all forms. And when I came on YouTube, I was so naive in thinking that church hurt only happened in church buildings because that was where I initially experienced my church hurt. But there are so many different communities online and, that causes people to experience church hurt even from an internet or online platform. And that is the worst thing that anyone could ever experience is, being hurt by a fellow believer or someone that you truly believe was your brother or your sister. And so I just want to encourage you all, if this is where you are and this is what you have experienced, is to, number one, don't let the experience cause you to leave God, because God is not in that. God is love. And I don't ever want you to run away from God. If anything, you run even closer to God, because God is going to give you the strength and the healing that you need. And he's going to give you understanding as to why he even allowed you to go through it in the first place. And also, don't allow the hurt to cause you to be so guarded in the sense of where you begin to mistreat people because of the hurt that you've experienced from other people. Now, you know, since I've been on this YouTube, that is the number one thing I will always tell you guys, is to guard your heart. And I'm a true believer in that. But even in guarding your heart, sometimes you can still get hurt because you don't want to be so walled up to where you don't know how to have compassion and to allow yourself to have a relationship with people. Because the thing is, people are going to be people, and you can't change that about them. But what you have to do in all things is love. And you have to love people where they are, even in spite of the pain and the hurt that they have afflicted upon you. You still have to love them, because it's the God in you that operates that way. We are supposed to be God's children. And if you are truly a child of God, you will operate and move the way God operates and moves. And He is a God of love. He is love. And so we have to operate in love in spite of what we encounter with other people. So I just wanted to encourage you all in that. And I hope that blessed you. But that is not why I'm here today. I wanted to share an awesome testimony that I experienced on this particular day. Today is Easter. Some people reference it as Resurrection Day. 7 years ago on this particular day, and if you know, Easter, Resurrection Day usually falls on different days depending on the year. But 7 years ago, I believe Easter, Resurrection Day fell on the 8th of April. That Saturday before Easter, my husband and the kids, they spent the whole day hanging out together, which allowed me to kind of, you know, do my own thing and, you know, just have that time to enjoy to myself. So on this particular Saturday, I had went to the mall. You know, I was doing some window shopping, just browsing, enjoying being girly. And I had went inside Lifeway Christian Bookstore. I don't know if you guys have a Lifeway Christian Bookstore, but I love that store. I can spend hours in that store. And on this particular Saturday, I was browsing in this particular store, and I saw this purple Bible. Now, this is the Bible that I'm making reference to. I had purchased this Bible. Now, many of you know that I love the color purple. It is such a beautiful color. I've always loved purple. So when I saw that Bible, I was like, I got to have it. It was on sale. It was for $5. And you guys, I am the biggest frugal shopper there is. I am a bargain shopper. I am always making sure that I'm not just being an impulse buyer. You know, I'm thinking long and hard before I buy stuff, because I just don't like just spending money all the time, you know. But anyway, so I picked up the Bible. I had it in my little basket. I'm still browsing. And I was like, no, I'm going to put the Bible back, because I got a lot of Bibles at home. And I put the Bible back. And I'm thinking to myself, Veronica, you don't need this Bible. You got about 4 or 5 Bibles. I mean, I had all kind of Bibles, study Bibles, strong concordances. Like, I just had all kind of Bibles. But I loved this Bible because it was purple, but I didn't get it. But I walked to the checkout counter, and I had to pass this Bible when I walked to the checkout counter. And the Holy Spirit, I'm telling you guys, this don't happen too often. But the Holy Spirit told me, get that Bible. So I picked the Bible up. I put it in my basket. I paid for it. Went to the car. Put it in the trunk of my car, and then I drove off. The next place I went was Walmart. Now, I don't really care for Walmart too much, because Walmart is such an easy place for you to spend money. So when I go in Walmart, I literally have to have a plan, because if I don't have a plan, I'm going to end up spending more money than what I originally intended. So I'm in Walmart. I have the stuff that was in my basket that I said I wanted. I pass the women's aisle and I see these three jackets, these three lightweight jackets in different colors. And they were, again, were on clearance. They were all $5, which is so funny now that I'm saying it, because every item that God told me to purchase was $5. The number 5 represents grace. So I picked up these three jackets and I was like thinking to myself, because this is what I do when I'm shopping, you guys. I'm thinking, do I really need this or do I just want it? Because if it's just a want, a lot of times I'll push it on the back burner and I'll be like, you know what? I'll just get it another time. But for some reason, and now I know why, but at that moment, for some reason, the Lord told me, grab those three jackets. So I didn't think anything about it at first, but I'm like, okay, for whatever reason, I feel very strongly about getting these jackets. So I got the three jackets, I put it in my basket, I checked out, left those bags, well, that bag with the three jackets went again into the trunk of my car. So by this time, I'm headed home. I completely forgot about the bags that was in the trunk of my car. So I'm in the house. The kids, my husband got back. My husband was getting ready to go to work. And so he had pretty much left to go to work. So it's just me and the boys. And I had washed my hair. You know, I had my clothes laid out because me and the boys were going to go to church. At this time, I was attending church. And so I had all our stuff laid out, ready to, ready for us to, do what we needed to do the next morning so we can get out on time and head to church on Easter Resurrection Day. So the kids are in the bed. It's about 1 o'clock in the morning. I just got through doing my hair, and I went ahead and laid down. So I ended up waking up. It was after 3, almost around 4 in the morning. I wake up to a scream outside of my window, and I could hear somebody screaming off the top of their lungs, "Fire, fire." And I jumped up, and at first I didn't hear clearly what was being said because I was still kind of in and out of sleep. So I just kind of sat in bed thinking if I was going to hear it again, and I heard it again. So I'm looking out the window, out my bedroom window, and I see this guy is just yelling, "Fire, fire." So I instantly jumped up. My first instinct, I grabbed my purse. My keys was on my nightstand. I grabbed my keys, and my phone was on my nightstand. I grabbed my phone. I flew out of my door. My bedroom door was shut. I opened the door. My oldest son met me at the door. And when I opened my door, it was just nothing but smoke coming in from our front door into the building. And so I hurry up, grab my youngest son. He was still I literally had to drag him out the bed because he was still asleep. And at the time we had a cat. This was our first cat. Her name was Kayla. And honestly, I was not even thinking. I don't know if that makes me a bad person, but all that was going through my head at the time was, I need to get myself and my kids out of here as fast as possible. I didn't have anything that I could because my first instinct was get out. I couldn't think about grabbing anything. It was like, we got to get out. So when I opened our front door, all of this smoke that came in, at the time we were living in some condominiums. And when I opened the front door, all that smoke just rushed in our face. And it was hard to breathe, you guys. It was so hard to breathe. And I'm doing the best I can to get my kids out. And for a split second, I just stopped. And I could see my kids looking at me, and they were just so panicked. And I just quickly I was like, Lord, please get us out of here safely. So I grabbed my kids, and mind you, my kids only had on shorts. They didn't have no shirt on. They didn't have no socks, no shoes. All they had on was shorts. I just had on my pajamas. That's it. I didn't have no socks, no shoes, anything. So we're literally just leaving with what we had on. So we get downstairs, and I see the only way out was fire. That much room from where the door was all the way, from the beginning of where you open the door to this side of the door. It was about that much space, because that whole area where the door was, it was just nothing but fire. Fire had engulfed the whole place, pretty much. So I'm still praying like, Lord, please get us out of here. When I opened the door, it was like we literally had to squeeze from when the door opened, because all that fire was right there. There was just a little way you can inch on the side of this wall, because fire hadn't came on this side of the house yet, on the condominiums yet. So I got my kids, I maneuvered them to where they could slide without being touched by the fire. I got my youngest son out, and then I got my oldest son out, and then I hurry up and got out. And I immediately went to my car, and I guess I don't know what I was thinking, but I'm like, I can't lose my car too. So we hurry up and got in the car, and I just backed up, because where we was parked in the very front. And so I got in the car, and I just put the car in reverse and just backed all the way as far as we could away from the fire. So we're sitting in the car, you guys, and we're all just watching our home, a place that we've been in for 5 years, engulfed in fire. And I'm telling you guys, if you have never experienced anything like this, it is the most just surreal moment, because it's like in that moment you're thinking, oh my gosh, we barely escaped. And then you're thinking, oh my gosh, everything that we have is gone. It's there. We have only ourselves to show for, because we had nothing. We literally escaped with what we had on our bodies. So that was it. So we're sitting in this car, and I'm looking at my kids. They're in the, my oldest was in the front seat. My youngest was in the back seat. And it literally, like, reality just smacked me so hard, because I'm looking at them, and it was really cold this night. And my kids are shivering. I got the heat on, to warm us up. But they're like shivering because all they had was shorts on. And in that moment, it dawned on me, Veronica, you have 3 jackets in the back seat of your car, in the trunk of your car. You guys, we were cold. We didn't have anything. And here it is, that day, that day before this happened, God told me to buy those 3 jackets, even though I was, second guessing myself, like, I don't really need this. But the Lord knew that this situation was going to happen. And so in that moment, we're all in the car cold, me, my sons, 3 people. And I go in the trunk of my car, and there are 3 jackets. So I grabbed the 3 jackets. And guess what else was in that Bible? I already said it, but guess what was in that trunk? That Bible. I'm sitting here thinking that I don't really need this Bible, because I got all these Bibles in my house. But I had no idea that I was going to experience a house fire where everything that I had was going to be destroyed. And God knew I was going to need that Bible. And the Lord had me go into that trunk, and I had this Bible. You guys, do you understand what I'm saying to you all? God speaks. He speaks, and you have to listen, because I'm telling you, had I not listened to God, we would have been shivering, cold, and I would not have had a Bible. But I'm telling you all, God is so amazing, because the community of people, I'm telling you, people that I've never met in my life, they started coming up to me. There was a guy who walked to Walmart and bought my son's shoes, bought them pants to wear, socks. There were things that I didn't have because I wasn't really concerned about me. I was more concerned about my kids. There were people who were bringing my kids food to eat, brought me food to eat, bought me clothing. When I tell you the community came together, I'm telling you, there was an outpouring of love. For, I would say, about 4 or 5 months, there were people just buying us, bringing us food, bringing us clothing. We had multiple people that was blessing us with money. And when I tell you people were, I'm not talking about hand-me-down clothes, not saying that I had a problem with it, but God was blessing, having people bless us with brand new clothes. I mean, churches was blessing us with money. We had so much money, you guys, and I'm not saying this to gloat or brag or anything, but I'm telling you, the outpour of financial blessings came, and we just stacked that in the bank. All the money that we was getting, we just put it in the bank. Red Cross helped us, gave us clothing, gave us money. We had gift cards pretty much anywhere you could think of. I mean, people were blessing us with gift cards to like different restaurants. I'm telling you, God was amazing. I mean, he looked out for us like I could not have ever expected. And during that time, we stayed with my husband's parents. We were with them for about 7 months before we was able to find a place of our own. And another thing that I want to share is the next day. Oh my gosh, you guys, this just blows my mind. The next day after the fire, and I forgot to tell you guys, I called my husband. I called him immediately once I kind of got out of shock. And I got out of the car and I called my husband. I told him what happened. He rushed, off work to come to where we were. I mean, he was completely just devastated. I mean, he was crying. He was just like, because I think it bothered him because he wasn't there. And for the longest, that played on him. And I really had to get him to understand, like, this is nothing that you could have ever known that was going to happen. You was at work. I mean, there's no way you could have known. But he took it very hard because in his eyes, he should have been there. But we were able to get through that, you guys. But the very next day, here's a beautiful thing that God did. I'm telling you. We went back to the place just to see if there was anything that we could salvage. And you guys, everything was pretty much burnt to a crisp. It was literally burnt to a crisp. And when I walked into the bedroom where our bed used to be, you guys, now just think about this for a moment. When you look at, this is what I was thinking about. There were so many things that the Lord showed me in my dreams and visions when I laid in that bed. You guys, my bedroom is like it's like my sanctuary in a sense. I mean, there's a lot of prayer. And I know some people tell me, you shouldn't do videos in your bedroom. But I mean, you guys, I don't think about stuff like that because I truly know God protects me. I don't think about all that other extra stuff because when I tell you I know God protects me and he goes hard for me, I know that without a shadow of a doubt. There's been just too many things that I have gone through, that I've experienced, where I have seen the hand of God move on my behalf. I mean, things that I've experienced on the job where people were, coming at me and making accusations against me and lying on me. I've seen God deal with those people. I've seen God deal with people that have done a lot of things to me. And God has always shown himself to be my protector. He has always been for me. And so you guys, when God says in that word, if God is for you, then who can be against you? Please believe that, because I'm telling you, God is telling you something right there. Don't worry about what other people are saying or doing against you, how they're trying to bring you down and, try to jeopardize your reputation and your character. If God is for you, who can be against you? Please know that. But you guys, I'm telling you, there were so many dreams and visions the Lord showed me. There were so many revelations that the Lord gave me. There were so many words the Lord told me, so many promises the Lord gave me, and he gave it to me in that room. But you guys, I remember, I'm kind of backtracking, but this is important. When I was sitting in that car with my kids and I'm watching my home on fire, honestly, when I was sitting there watching everything that we had in that house being burnt up, I did not care about the things. The only thing I cared about, and first off, I was really concerned about my cat. And I truly believe, just because God knew how much I loved that cat. And honestly, the Lord really had to help me understand through my husband, because I beat myself up for a while because I didn't think about Kayla at the time when we were trying to get out. But my husband told me, he said, Veronica, had you took the time to try to find where she was, y'all may not have made it out. So you can't beat yourself up for not taking the time to try to figure out where she was, but you did what you were supposed to do. You got you and the kids out. So I'm so grateful that he said that, because that helped me. But I do believe that Kayla made it out. And I believe that because of 2 dreams that the Lord gave me after the fact. So with that being said, I wanted to share that when I was sitting in that car, the only thing that I wish I could have salvaged was my dream journal. I had a big old thick, and this is before I even went on YouTube, you guys, and started sharing my dreams and visions. I had a big old notebook full of dreams and visions that the Lord showed me. And I was like, in that moment, like, oh my gosh, I wish I could have grabbed that, because a lot of those dreams and visions I have recorded, I don't remember. I don't. But when I went back the next day, me and my husband and the kids, we went there. And I'm telling you guys, if you've ever seen a place that has just burnt to the crisp, you will understand why this is so significant to me. But when we walked into that bedroom and I'm looking at the rails, only the rails were left from where our bed used to lay. Everything in that whole place, not just the room, but everything in that whole place that used to be our home everything was just burnt up. It just represented death. But right where I used to sleep, at the precise place where my head would be if I was sleeping, was a beautiful purple flower. Do you guys hear me? where I normally lay my head down, where the Lord would give me dreams and visions, where I would be given so many words of wisdom and revelation, the words that the Lord would tell me that he was going to do for me, promises. That space, that very space where I would lay my head at, in the place of that was a beautiful purple flower. Out of the whole place, that flower was the only symbol that represented life. I wish I took a picture, you guys, because I would have loved to have held on to that. I know that was the Lord. I truly believe an angel placed that flower right there because it was for me to know that everything that you experience in this room, all of the beautiful memories that I had in that room where I would worship God and I would pray and I would fast and I would just go in to the presence of God, and how I would pray for people and intercede for people and all the dreams and visions. It was like the Lord told me through that flower, it was not in vain. We saw all of it, and it was just the most beautiful experience, you guys. I have experienced so many different types of miracles. Can't nobody tell me God is not real. I know what God has done for me. I have seen God move in extraordinary supernatural ways. But I'm telling you, that was so amazing to see. And me and my husband just stood there like we couldn't say a word, because there was no way that flower, it was like, how did this flower get here? How did this flower get here? I didn't have any flowers in that room. There were no flowers. How in the world did that flower get there? It was unexplainable, and we just stood there like, wow, that's God. So you guys, I'm telling you, God is amazing. The Lord put it on my heart to share this with you all. I know this is a long video, but I hope y'all enjoyed it, because God really wanted me to share this testimony with you all, because God is real. He is real, you guys. And I'm telling you, there is nothing too hard, too great, too big, too difficult that he cannot deliver you from. He can save you from any and every situation, you guys. And I am so grateful to the Lord, because the enemy tried to take me and my boys out 7 years ago, but God said no. And it's not the first time the Lord, it's not the first time the Lord has saved me. I was in 2 car wrecks with my youngest son, and I got hit one of those times on the interstate by a tractor trailer, you guys. My car was so beat up, they could not believe, not that I wasn't hurt, but that my baby wasn't hurt. And you guys, there's been a lot of situations that I can just share with you on this video, but you would be here for days. So you guys, it is amazing to know who you are in Christ. And it's more important to know who Christ is in your life, because God is real and he loves you and he is protecting us. You guys, you have no idea what God is protecting you from. You think you're waking up and you're going to work, you're going to school, you're going to the grocery store, you're getting your gas. You know, you think you're doing all of these normal things, but you have no idea how the enemy is coming against you in so many ways. But the angels are saying, no, we're going to protect this person. We're going to protect them. And I am so grateful and appreciative for God's protection. And you guys, I just really hope that this testimony blessed you all, because 7 years ago, me and my children were saved from a house fire that could have killed us. But God said, no, I have a purpose and I have a plan, not for Veronica, but I have a purpose and a plan for her boys. And I believe that. So thank you all for taking the time to watch this video. I appreciate you guys. If you like this type of stuff, let me know in the comments below. And if this blessed you, also please let me know as well. And if you have a testimony that you would like to share, please share that below, because you guys, you know, the testimonies that we have, they are so empowering. You know, live each day as if it was your last. You know, and I just want to end with this. You guys, time is short. Time is extremely short. And tomorrow is not promised to any of us. Please make sure that not only is it important to have a relationship with God, and I pray that those of you who are watching are saved. And if you're not saved, all you have to do is just give your heart to the Lord and just repent of the sins that you have committed before Him. And just let God know, you know what? I messed up. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Help me to become the man or the woman that you have called for me to be. And let God know, I believe in you. I believe in you. And just begin to seek Him, because those who seek Him will find Him. Amen. But, you know, please treat people right. Treat people right, because all of us know what it feels like to be hurt by people. And if we understand what it feels like to be hurt by people, we shouldn't inflict those same type of hurts on others. Treat people right. Treat people with compassion. Treat people with dignity. Treat people with respect. Treat people the way God would want you to treat them. Because you don't want to experience hurt in the same format that you are dishing it out to others. Don't do that. We are to love. We are commanded to love our neighbors as ourselves. That's what Jesus told us. We are to love Him and we are to love others. And we have to get rid of pride. We have to get rid of pride. So let's treat people right. Let's do right by people. But let's treat people right. Amen. Well, God bless you all. I thank you all for tuning in. And I pray that you all are having a blessed day. I love you all. If there is anything that you guys would like for me to speak on, let me know in the comment section below. But I just pray that this bless you all. And I'm sure if you take the time, there are some testimonies that you guys have too that will be a blessing to others. So thank you all. God bless you. Shalom.